Extreme panoramic photography. I just had to try it. Hey everyone! It's that time again. I've got a brand new video ready for you. This time, I want to take you along on a little experiment. I've been thinking for a while about how to shoot panoramic images that go beyond the usual 24x54mm you get using format masks in 6x6 cameras, or even the well-known 24x65mm from the Hasselblad X-Pan. Now, I do have a 6x12cm film back, and that's where the idea hit me. What if I just loaded a standard 35mm film into that back? Of course, there were a few hurdles to overcome, but I'm always up for a new photographic challenge. So check out what camera I used and get ready to be surprised by the results. And one more thing, if you enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that little bell icon. It really helps support this small channel and keeps new videos coming your way. Thanks so much! To load a 35mm film into a roll film back or roll film holder, you'll need an adapter, like the one you see here. It simply snaps onto the top and bottom of the 35mm cartridge. That way, it sits at the correct height and can be advanced properly inside the camera. Of course, I wanted to start by practicing with a cheap test roll first, just to see how loading 35mm film into the 6x12cm film back with a Graph-Lock universal mount for large format cameras would work. For shooting in the 6x12cm panoramic format on my large format camera, I use a roll film back made by Cambo. It takes standard 120 roll film, as well as the extremely rare 220 rolls, which give you twice the number of shots. And of course, with an adapter, I can also load regular 35mm film. What's special about this Cambo roll film back with Graph-Lock mount for large format cameras is how the film is transported. Unlike most medium format cameras, and even most roll film backs for medium format, the film here doesn't travel from one side to the other. Instead, it passes over the film pressure plate and then winds back onto an empty take-up spool that's placed right next to the supply spool with the unexposed film. This unique design makes loading a bit trickier, at least for me. Up next, I'll walk you through how I load a 35mm film into my Cambo roll film back, step by step. The first step is to pop the adapter onto the 35mm film canister. Next up, drop the film and adapter combo into the roll holder on the outer side of the back. You'll clearly see where it goes in the video. It's hard to miss. Now comes an important point. Make sure that you insert the film with the shiny side, the side that is not to be exposed, facing upwards when you pull it out of the cartridge. This is the shiny side that you can see here. Now pull out a good length of film from the cartridge, just like I'm showing here. When you pass the film over the guide rollers and to the take-up spool, the matte side, the side to be exposed, must be facing up. But don't worry, you'll see clearly in the video how this works. Next, drop in the 120 take-up spool. Next, thread the film into the take-up spool. It wasn't exactly smooth for me the first time, I needed a few tries. But I'll skip those parts so the video doesn't drag on forever. Now you can see the matte side facing up, which means your film is loaded correctly and ready to be exposed. Now you can go ahead and close up the film back. Just a heads up, don't do this with actual film loaded. I'm only opening it to show you how the 35mm film sits inside the magazine. After loading the film, you'll need to set the frame counter to S. Just turn the dial in the direction of the S until it clicks into place. Imagine the Cambo back is mounted to a large format camera, the lens shutter is closed, and you're getting ready to expose your film inside your 6x12 film holder. To do that, you'll need to pull out the dark slide, but not all the way. There's a clear marking on the slide showing how far you should pull it. If you pull it out too far, light can leak in and ruin your shot partially or even completely, so be careful with that. After taking a shot, you'll need to advance the film to the next frame. To do that, press the small button shown here. This unlocks the take-up spool and lets you wind the film forward. Once you feel some resistance, the film has been properly advanced, and the frame counter will have moved to the next number. By the way, if you're shooting roll film with this back, you'll get 6 shots using a standard 120 roll and 12 shots if you're lucky enough to have a 220 roll. But how was I going to determine my image section? I have been using the Linhof multi-format ground glass for years. It has framing aids for different formats such as 6x12, 6x9, and 6x7. There is also a fine grid with lines arranged at 1 cm intervals. There is a small crosshair right in the center of the ground glass. I used all this to my advantage. I used the 6x12 framing lines as a guide, as these 12 cm corresponded exactly to the width I wanted to expose on the 35 film. There was no direct marking for the height of 24 mm, but I estimated it using the grid. 1 line above and 1 below the central format line, plus a little more, so that the 20 mm determined in this way resulted in approximately 24 mm, that is, the height of a 35 film. All right, time to head out and shoot. So I packed up my Intrepid 4x5, 2 lenses, a 90 and a 150 mm, my trusty old Gossen Multi-6 light meter, a cable release, the 6x12 Cambo, back-loaded with Portra 800 in 35mm format, plus a bunch of small accessories. Then I met up with my best buddy Falky, and off we went to shoot. But like every great photo outing, this one eventually had to come to an end. As you probably know, roll film can't be rewound. After the final shot, you need to wind the backing paper all the way onto the take-up spool before opening the film back. Then you seal the film with the adhesive tab to prevent the paper and film from unrolling and potentially ruining your exposures. With 35mm film, it's a different story. It has to be rewound back into the cartridge. To do that, I removed the film from the magazine at home using a changing bag and carefully rewound it back into the canister. You could also use a completely darkened room for this or, for more comfort, a small film-changing tent. It gives your hands and gear much more room to move than a traditional changing bag. I had the film developed at a pro photo lab, but I asked them not to cut it, since this unusual format would likely be unfamiliar to them, and I wanted to get the panoramic shots as a continuous strip. I scanned the negatives using my Epson V850 flatbed scanner. And here you can see the results from my first try shooting 24 120mm panoramic photos. As you can see from the results, not every shot turned out perfectly. Some images show light leaks and banding, which I still need to investigate. I also accidentally ended up with a few double exposures. But despite all that, there's definitely potential here, and one thing's for sure, it works. If you have any ideas or tips for me, feel free to drop them in the comments. Thanks so much for watching and spending your time with me. See you in the next video. Stay healthy.